We welcome you once again on our platform for our book study, byᶜAllāmah Ali Madad. Thank you so much for coming, and Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Thank you, Nevin Saiba. Once again, Ya Ali Madad to all our Ilmi friends, and Happy New Year to everyone. May Mola bring immense joy and happiness in this year, and indeed each and every single day, as Maulana Hazimam said in one of his farmans, which I can recall, in which Imam said that, every day, every week, every month, and every year, Imam is with us. And it reminds me of a Quranic verse, which is from Surah Ibrahim, in which Allah says that this shajara, this tree, which gives fruit in every season. This is just a gist of that Quranic verse. And we can just think about this Quranic verse that in every season, which tree which we have seen that can give fruit in every season. So we can make a connection of this Farman with this Quranic verse, that Imam's guidance, Imam's blessing, Imam's help is with us in every single day, no matter through any of the worldly challenges we are going through with, but Imam's blessing is with us all the time. And remember, in the Mubarak Talika on 13 December, Maulana Hazimam alayhi salam also said that, remember your Imam is always with you. So let's come to our book study. And today we are going to look at some of the pages, and we will start with Witness of the Prophet. And if I can kindly request the volunteer to please come forward to read this particular chapter.
Ya Ali Madad.
Molan.
Witness of the Prophet. Argument 17. The verse, Surah 13, Ayat 43 says, quote, "And those who disbelieve say, you are not the messenger sent by God. Say, O Muhammad, God is sufficient as witness between me and you, and he who has knowledge of the book," unquote. And the other verse mentioned above, Surah 11, Ayat 17 is, quote, "Is he then like unto him who has a clear proof from his Lord and a witness from him," unquote. It is well known that these two verses are revealed about Maulana Ali, that he was the second witness of the Prophet's messengership and prophethood, whereas God is the first witness. He who is fortunate will reflect upon and understand the point about what is the meaning of becoming a witness of the Prophet of the Chief of Prophets. Hallowed be God. He has made Maulana Ali alayhi salam master of the unbounded treasure of spiritual secrets of the words Shaheed and Shahid. Shaheed and Shahid both mean present and witness. The gist of these verses is that Maulana Ali was aware of all the states of the Holy Prophet's prophethood, which is a magnificent world of knowledge, wisdom, rectitude, and guidance, and secrets of spirituality and luminosity, and which comprised his spiritual and physical life. Otherwise, where God, on the sublimity of luminosity, has made himself witness with respect to the secrets of prophethood and the observations of divine miracles, how was it possible to make a witness of an ordinary person who had not personally seen these events. Rather, the truth is that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ali alaihi wasallam are two physical figures of the same one holy light. And this purport is clear from Shahidun Minhu, a witness from him, in the above mentioned verse. That is, Ali alayhi salam is the witness of the prophethood of the Holy Prophet in the sense that he is from his holy light, as the Prophet has said, quote, "We, I and Ali, were in the presence of God in the form of a light. Ali is from me and I am from Ali." Yanabiyul Mawada, Chapter 1.
Subhanallah. Thank you for this beautiful reading. Let's look at this Quranic reference, which we have from Surah 13, verse 43. And we can also look at how Allāmah Sahib had explained this particular Quranic verse in some of his other publications. So this one is, I can bring this in. So this one is Ascent of Soul, and I'm sure that if you can recall, as our scholar Nemat Saiba is explaining you this particular very important book. And here this Quranic reference is, and I would like to read, and then I will try to explain you a little bit on that. In Surah 13, verse 43, it is said, "And those who disbelieve say, you are not a messenger. Say, O Muhammad, Allah and he who has knowledge of the book are sufficient witness of my messengership between me and you." So that's the Quranic reference. And Allāmah Sahib explained, if you wish, you can find out about this verse in a Shii commentary, in which you will find several reliable Sunni references as well. That for the testimony of the messengership of the Holy Prophet, the perfect man, who is mentioned after God in the above mentioned verse, is Mawla Ali. Whatever the disbelievers may say about his messengership, there are two just witnesses of it, and they are God and Mawla Ali as Imam Momin, who testify that he is the true messenger of God. So this is the two witnesses we find here. Those two witnesses are God and Mawla Murtaza Ali alayhi salam. And this is what in reference to this particular Quranic verse. And there are two words here, shahid and the word shahid, which means present and witness. And so there are two words here. And if we can go to, if I can share with you the another reference, and the other reference is from the book Hazrat Ali, which is written by Alwaiz Rashida Saiba. And in this book, we will find that reference. And let me bring that reference also about. Okay, so I can read that. It says, Hazrat Ali is recorded as having said, "Ask me regarding the book of God, for verily there is not a verse, but I know whether it was revealed by night or day, in the plains or on the mountains." So Hazrat Ali is saying this, that Hazrat Ali knows that which Quranic verse was revealed to the Prophet in the day or at night. So that's what Hazrat Ali said. So let me read it again. Hazrat Ali is recorded as having said, "Ask me regarding the book of God, for verily There is not a verse, but I know whether it was revealed by night or day, in the plains or on the mountains. The Holy Quran affirms. This is Surah Ra'd, Surah 13, verse 43. And they who disbelieve say, you are no messenger of Allah. Say, Allah is sufficient witness between me and you, and also he who possesses the knowledge of the book. In Islam, the condition of two witness is fulfilled in this verse, that Allah and Hazrat Ali were the two witnesses of Prophet Muhammad's prophethood. With such comprehensive knowledge of the Quran, Hazrat Ali used to explain and elaborate the verses to the other Muslims, even during the time of the Prophet. So this would be the explanation of this particular Quranic verse, which we are looking over here. So let me come back to this. So let me bring the book back to Ali. Okay. So this one is the second reference, as you can see this one. So can you read this one reference, which is from the Naṣīr Hunzai and Spirituality?
According to the gist of verse Surah 13, Ayat 43, the knowledge of the heavenly book is with the light of Ali. This means that whoever wants to acquire knowledge and wisdom of the Quran must have recourse to the Imam of the time with utmost devotion and willingness, so that the Imam, through his special exoteric and esoteric guidance, may open to him the door of Quranic knowledge and wisdom. It follows that the key of the knowledge and wisdom of all Quranic verses is Ismailism and the recognition of the Imam. Pir Naṣir Khusru and Spirituality, 48.
So this, thank you. So this is also another reference by Allāmah Sahib's book, Pir Naṣir Khusru and Spirituality, in which he explained that the door of true guidance, the door of esoteric knowledge, where we can gain the esoteric knowledge, and the door of esoteric knowledge is the Imam of the time, and through true recognition of the Imam, we can get to that knowledge. And I'm sure that we all agree with this, is that true recognition of Imam comes through knowledge and through zikr and Girya Huzari. And I would like to share with you this example, and I have shared it before. And this is just my general observation, within the Jamaat, that, or normally, um, generally speaking, members of the Jamaat, they are just looking at the Imam and just thinking that Imam is just like us, physically, but by looking at Imam's physicality or Imam's bashariyat. But that would be a mistake. And how that can be a mistake is because, as we all know, and with this esoteric knowledge and this advanced knowledge, alhamdulillah, we are gaining, that through this knowledge we have learned that Imam spirituality and Imam's luminosity, it's higher than Imam's physical aspect. And with that, just to give you this very practical example, which Alwaiz Rashida Saiba shared with us. And that example is that, in the Portugal, Lisbon Jamaat Khana, when this Ismaili Center was built, at that time, Maulana Hazimam hired two Portuguese, And these two Portuguese, the competition was done, and through the competition they won. And Imam selected these two Portuguese, and one was assigned to do the landscape, and the other was assigned to do for the building of the Ismaili Center. And what happened is that these two Portuguese, and also the president, his name was Mois, he along with these two, they went to Eglimon to in the presence of Maulana Hasima, and they presented the entire model to the Imam. And what happened is during the flight, during the traveling, the one Portuguese who was assigned for the building, he was talking too much, and he was asking a lot of questions. And he was saying that, I would ask this to His Highness, I was asked this question to His Highness. And President Saib was kind of, fed up with his questioning, and because he was talking too much. And as they arrived in Imam's presence, first Imam offered for a coffee, and then Imam asked that, I'm going to ask you some questions before you explain me the entire model. So we are talking about Imam's recognition, and I'm just sharing you this practical example, which President Moise shared with Alwaiz Rashida Saiba, and she shared with us. So I'm sharing this example with reference to Imam's recognition. So Imam asked this question to President Moise, that why the kitchen is here in the basement when Imam was looking at this model. So the president said that, Khudawand, this is for the sweet things which we give it to the Jamaat. And what president thought that might be Imam wouldn't understand, if I would say in Portuguese language, Imam wouldn't understand. That's what he thought. And then Imam said that, you mean Sukrit, right? And so he said, yes, Khudawand, Sukrit. And then Imam asked the question to the one who was responsible for the landscape, for the gardening and everything. So Imam picked up a plant, is a bush, and Imam asked him, what is the lifespan of this plant? What is the lifespan? And that architect, he just said that, His Highness, I'm getting blank. I couldn't recall. I don't know right now. And Imam said to him, the lifespan of this plant is 7 to 8 years. And after that, when everything was over and they went back to their country, this president asked to the landscape of the building that, you didn't ask any question to His Highness. And he said that, I couldn't speak in front of His Highness, he said this. And then the landscape architect, he immediately after getting off from the airport, he landed over there. He went to his office and opened up his encyclopedia and looked for the answer. And that was exactly the same what the Imam said. The lifespan of that plant was around 6 to 7 years. So the question is, Imam didn't go for gardening or botanic school or anything. Imam's degree is in Middle Eastern studies, as we know. So that is the question, we can ask our youth, and we can share with our youth, how would Imam know this? And that's the Imam's knowledge, and that's the point regarding Imam's recognition. And so this is what point came into my mind. So I just thought to share with you. And the next point here, it's very important. Allama Sahib wrote, the gist of these verses is that Ali was aware of all the states of the Holy Prophet's prophethood, which is a magnificent world of knowledge, wisdom, rectitude, and guidance, and secrets of spirituality and luminosity, and which comprised his spiritual and physical life. And as we can also study here, that about Maula Ali alayhi salam, as Maula Ali said that we and I and Ali were in the presence of God in the form of light. Ali is from me and I am from Ali. Ana wa Ali min Noor Wahid. That is the very important hadith which we can recall in this particular chapter. So let's move on to the next one, which is about help of God.
Help God. Argument 18. God says, quote, "O you who believe, if you help God, He will help you and make firm your feet." Unquote. Surah 47, Ayat 7. Several great wisdoms appear from this holy verse. The first wisdom is that the help is both most special as well as quite ordinary. Therefore, after God, we can seek help from the Prophet and the Imam. Had it not been so, God would not have brought it to the generality and said, "If you help God, He will help you." It is therefore clear that help is not a special word which is used only for God. The second wisdom is that as the Prophet and the Imam in their luminosity help Momins, similarly, it is incumbent upon Momins to help the Prophet and the Imam like the disciples of Hazrat Isa helped him. Surah 3, Ayah 52. They will be rewarded for this help as if they have helped God, for God Himself is not in need of anyone's help. The third wisdom is that when you help the vicegerent of God, you should not know that you help God, and when He helps you, you should accept that this help is from God. The fourth wisdom is that the exalted rank of the Prophet and the Imam does not diminish because of the help provided by Momins, as there cannot be any doubt about his glory and majesty from the concept of helping him. The fifth wisdom is that this command of God is not general, but it is special, because in a general command, people are either frightened of hell or given glad tidings of paradise. But in this command, it is not so. For in His infinite mercy, He has set this command as though He is favored by us helping Him in one of His interpreted works. This is the final degree of the description of the importance and excellence of religious service and obedience. The sixth wisdom is that in this verse is mentioned the standard of ascent and descent. That is, if a Momin cannot improve in his intention, speech, and action, and cannot progress on the path of Islam and the spiritual path, and time and again takes false steps, then he should know that he does not help God. So God also does not help him. As a result, his feet slip.
So in this particular chapter, help God, we see the six key important points. So let's try to discuss with everyone's prayers. We have very important Quranic verse here. "O you who believe, if you help God, He will help you and make firm your feet." So how we can help God? That's the question. And Alam Sahib answered that in these six wisdoms. And first we look at that the help is in a general form and as well as special form also. So there are two types of help. The first is, which is kind of special as well as ordinary. So what would be the special help? Special help would be through the Prophet and the Imam. That would be the special help, and the general help would be, what we get in our worldly life, all our worldly bounties. That would be in the general form. So, but we can help God through the obedience, by keeping the principle of Atiullah wa Atiur Rasul wa Ulil Amri Minkum. That's how we can able to help God. And then another point would be that, when we are helping our fellow Ismaili brothers and sisters in knowledge, not only in knowledge, but, whatever capacity we can help, through material resources, with time and knowledge resources, that would be another aspect of help. So there would be levels, and we can go from the lower level of help to the higher level of help. But each help is important. Each is it's valuable. We cannot say that it's not valuable, but of course there are levels in there. So in the second wisdom, as Allama Sahib said, that as the Prophet and the Imam in their luminosity help Mominins. So prophets and the Imams, they also help us. How they help us through guidance, and through their special knowledge, they help us. And then in the third one, Allama Sahib wrote that the third wisdom is that when you help the vicegerent of God, you should know that you help God, and when He helps you, you should accept that this help is from God. So accepting the vicegerent of God, and as we can look at Surah Araf and the foundation of Imam Shanasi, it's coming from Hazrat Adam, acceptance of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, that, when Allah said to all the angels that when I put my light, my nur, and when I perfect Hazrat Adam, then you all bow down in prostration. So when we look at this particular Quranic verse, um, the acceptance of vicegerent and the Khalifa of Allah, that is the basis of basis of Imam Shanasi, the recognition of the Imam. And that help will come to us when we have the true recognition of Imam of the time. And this particular Quranic verse and the story of Hazrat Adam will also take us to the next level, that as we go from one level to the next level, when we increase in our knowledge, and when we go to the next level, and when Mola guide us with his helpers, and we accept those the imams, helpers, and when we go through this time, and we accept those who are truly guiding us in Imam's knowledge, then that would be the next level, that we are, going to the next level. So that would be the another aspect of health. And then in the fifth wisdom, Allama Sahib wrote about, this idea of this notion of heaven and hell. And if we can study Hakim P. Naṣīr Khusro's book, and I'm just, giving you the reference, in which Hakim P. Naṣīr Khusro, Qaddasallahu Sirruhu, mentioned about the doors of, I believe it's like 7 or 8 doors of hell. So how we can understand that? So this is just a point of reference which we can study that. And as we can recall, that those 4 lakes of paradise, the lake of milk, lake of honey, lake of wine, and lake of water. So the wisdom of these 4 lakes, which we can understand, the lake of honey is the symbol of wisdom, and a lake of milk is a symbol of spiritual nourishment, or the teaching of nafsikul. And then a lake of water is the symbol of knowledge, and lake of wine is actually it's allegorical. Of course, all four are in allegorical sense. But lake of wine, it's when one is stuck with a shariat and a shariat of a natik and not moving to the next level. It's considered as the um, lake of wine. So that's the wisdom in it, and there are many other aspects and many layers of meanings. But I'm just sharing with you this particular aspect. So that's the fifth one, and as Allama Sahib wrote, the fifth wisdom is that this command of God is not general, but it is special. Because in a general command, people are either frightened of hell or given glad tidings of paradise. But in this command, it is not so. For in his infinite mercy, he has said his command as he is favored by us helping him in one of his interrupted works. This is the final degree of the description of the importance and excellence of religious service and obedience. So again, because we are talking about health, and this religious service and obedience is also another point. And then in the sixth wisdom is that in this wisdom is mentioned the standard of ascent and descent. That is, if a Momin cannot improve in his intention, speech, and action, and cannot progress on the path of Islam and the spiritual path, and time and again takes false steps, then he should know that he does not help God. So God also does not help him, and as a result, his feet sleep. So this is the next level, and in this particular level, it's about our ethics and about that we all reflect spiritually, intellectually in our own actions. How we are helping our family members, the Jamaat, and the humanity with whatever capacity we can help. But as a seeker of true knowledge, our responsibility is also to share this esoteric knowledge with members of the Jamaat, and be generous in our not only in our material resources, but also in our time and knowledge nazarana. Because today, what we are learning, then it's our responsibility to share with the members of the Jamaat. And with that reference, I would like to share with you this story of Maula Murtaza Ali alayhi salam, and Allama Said Qaddasallahu Sirruhu shared this story in one of his talk. And the essence of the story which we can take is to be generous, and the generosity not only um, in our material resources, but also with our knowledge, the knowledge which we have. So the story is that, once the beggar came to Maula Murtaza Ali alayhi salam, and this beggar asked for a bread to Maula Ali. And Maula Ali said to Kambar, his servant, that to give saddle of bag to this particular beggar. So the beggar said that, Ya Maula, this saddle bag is actually um, uh, it's connected to the camel. It's there by the camel. So Maula Ali said that, give this camel to this person, to this beggar. And then Kambar said that, Ya Maula, this particular camel is attached with entire row of camel, because at that time there was some kind of setting over there that the camels were kind of tied up with many other camels. So Maula Ali said to give the entire row of camel to this particular beggar. And when Maula Ali said that, So Kambar at that time he escaped, and he thought that Maula Ali would ask me that to and Maula Ali is going to give myself to that beggar. So therefore Kambar escaped from there. So this is just to share with you the Maula Ali's generosity, how we can be generous in sharing knowledge, esoteric knowledge with the Jamaat. So let's go to the, believe the next one. We can do this. Uh, it's about, let's see, Ansar, helper.
Ansar, helpers. Argument 19. Verse Surah 3, Ayat 52 says, quote, "But when Isa became conscious of their disbelief, he said, 'Who will be my helpers unto God?' The disciples said, 'We will be God's helpers,'" unquote. Another verse, Surah 61, Ayat 14, quote, "O you who believe, be helpers of God, as Isa, son of Maryam, said to the disciples, 'Who will be my helpers unto God?' The disciples said, 'We are the helpers of God,'" unquote. The gist of these two verses is that those who wish to help God should help the Prophet, and those who wish to help the Prophet should help the Imam of the time, so that they may receive the help of God, the Prophet, and the Imam in the form of external and internal guidance, and as a result, they will be the fountainhead of human powers, and they will be provided with the means of success in both worlds.
Subhanallah. So these two Quranic verses, as we heard its translation, and Allama Sahib gave this very important point here and mentioned that the gist of these two particular Quranic verses, that how we can help God, and that we can help God through the Prophet, that that we should the guidance, to follow the guidance of the Prophet and the Imam. And as the Allama Sahib wrote, that who wish to help God should help the Prophet, and those who wish to help the Prophet should help the Imam of the time. So look at the link, how it's connected. Wish to help the Prophet, then you should help the Imam. And it's connected with this verse of obedience, Surah 4, verse number 59, Atiullah wa atiur Rasul wa ulil amri minkum, that those who believe obey Allah, obey the Prophet, and obey the possessor of the command. And if we can just, in the explanation, if we can just put this particular Quranic verse and remember the help of the Prophet would be through the Imam, and because he is the successor of the Prophet. So let's go to the next one. And in the next one, there's a very important Quranic verse here. And we will, conclude with this last section for today's help through light.
Sorry. Help through light. Argument 20, verse 57, ayat 13 says, quote, "The day when the hypocritical men and hypocritical women will say to the believers, 'Wait for us that we may borrow a little light from your light.' They will be told, 'Go back to the initial history of the world and thence seek the light,'" unquote. This wisdom-filled verse has many aspects from which appear the glimpse of manifold wisdoms. One of them is that one should go back through the path of history and recognize the true successor of the Prophet. This also means that the light in whose illumination the moments will traverse the distance of the path of the hereafter or the spiritual path will be the same light which used to be among them in this world. Therefore, the hypocrites will be told that if you want to walk like them in the illumination of the light, go back to the world and recognize it here, recognize it there. Another significant point in it is, do not the hypocrites at this place cry for guidance, support, and help? And do they not receive this reply that today you will not receive any help from the light because you did not attain help from it in the life of the world?
SubhanAllah, this is a very interesting Quranic verse, and I'm sure that you have studied this particular Quranic verse, and which is Surah 57, Ayat 13. And a good way to remember this particular Quranic verse is, I always try to make a connection with the Quranic verses. You can, remember this Quranic verse by this, that, Maulana Hazimam's Imam Day, he became Imam in 1957. So remember with 57, number 57, Surah number 57, and his Imam's birthday is 13 December. So just remember number 13 with that. And so with this, it says the day when the hypocritical man and hypocritical women will say to the believer, wait for us that we may borrow a little light from your light. They will be told, go back to the initial history of the world and seek the light. So as we know that those who are hypocritical, that in their heart, they would say, they have something negative, but they would say positive about the Imam or about the Prophet. That's what we know about it. But in this particular Quranic verse, it's about staying with the light of the present and the living all the time. That's what this verse is about. That when they ask for this light, they were told to go back in the history where they have lost the light. So therefore, this verse is about Sirat-e Mustaqim, staying on that straight path all the time, our allegiance and our obedience to the present and the living Imam. And with this connection, I'm sure if you can recall that Quranic verse, in that Quranic verse, which is from Surah number 17 and verse number 72, and the gist of that Quranic verse is that those who are blind in this world, they will be blind in the world hereafter. How we can understand its inner meaning or the esoteric meaning, that those who are blind in this world, they will be blind in the world hereafter. I'm sure that you can able to make a connection with this particular Quranic verse, that those who did not follow with the living light, and they lost the connection with the living light, or didn't follow the guidance of the Prophet, they were blind in their time. And so in order for them to gain their seeing, or to overcome this weakness of blindness, how they can overcome that, through gaining the recognition of the living light, of recognition of the successor of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and gaining the recognition of the Imam of the time. And if they didn't get it in this world, then in the next world, in the world hereafter, their spiritual level will be very lower. In the spiritual world, they will be at the lower level. So then in the spiritual world, then they have to recover this weakness. So that would be one explanation which I shared with you, and there will be many aspects of this particular Quranic verse. And the another aspect would be that, and this is a hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in this particular hadith, Prophet Muhammad said that after my death, those who will see me after my death, they will become blind. So many people have seen Prophet Muhammad after Prophet's death, but they have not became, blind. So what would be the inner aspect of this particular hadith? The inner aspect of this hadith can be that would be one aspect, that, Prophet is saying that after my spiritual resurrection, if one can see me as an ordinary human being, then spiritually he will become blind. Spiritually, his spiritual senses will not work. So that's the same thing today. Today as I said that, generally speaking, that, some members of the Jamaat, they are looking at the Imam just as in a physical sense, and thinking Imam is like an ordinary human being. And, same thing that, if you look at the sun directly, you will become blind. So similarly, looking at the Imam directly, just, with the physical eye, then spiritually, you will become blind. So therefore, it's important to look at the Imam with spiritual senses, through knowledge, through zikr, through ibadat, through giryozari, through attendance of Jamaat Khana, through acquiring spiritual knowledge, esoteric knowledge, through good deeds, we gain the recognition of Imam of the time through these elements. So inshallah, I believe we are just maybe 1 or 2 pages away to finish this very important book, Ya Ali Madad, and it's just everyone's prayers and Maula's blessings. Inshallah, we will complete it in the next session. Thank you so much for everyone's attention, and may Maula help all of us to understand its inner meaning and inner aspects in this particular book. And lastly, I just want to share this. I was listening to Allāmah Buzurgwar's talk, and in which Allāmah Said said that, and that's the advice which I'm also trying to implement to this advice, and that's my resolution for the new year, is Allāmah Said said that, try to wake up early in the morning before 3 o'clock, and study spiritual knowledge. And if you study spiritual knowledge before that, that will help you in your spiritual progress. So inshallah, we all can, come to that. I know it's we all try to wake up at 4 a.m. But we have to go a little back. But inshallah, we all can, do that. Some sacrifice for our spiritual progress, sacrifice of our sleep. And as I include myself also in this endeavor to engage more in the Nurani Ibadat. So with everyone's prayers, we all can achieve this goal. Thank you, everyone, and Ya Ali Madad.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. It is amazing that, such a small book with such great topics of helping God and, understanding the importance of aspect of how we are helping, because He does not need our help. It is us who need to seek His pleasure and be able to follow that, and especially understanding the role of a vicegerent, Imam of the time or prophet in his time, to seek that pleasure of Khudawand in this lifetime. So beautiful session. Friends, if you have any questions, any comments, you can come forward. You can unmute and come forward. We do have one comment and a question together. Ya Ali Madad, as said in the lecture, we may share the ilm and its esoteric understanding with the Jamaat, or else which we all have been receiving from ilmi classes for a couple of years, how about the notion of izn, permission? It has been said that we are not supposed to share any of the esoteric sharing which we acquire through ilmi classes unless we receive the izn from the Imam Zaman. Kindly, if you can share your valuable insight about that.
Yes. So in this particular question, we need to understand, right, that like when we are sharing with members of the Jamaat, and of course, we have to see that, what level that particular person is. And when Imam said that, be my dai, Imam has made us, Imam Sultan used to say that you all are a silent missionary, you are silent Alwaiz or Alwaiza. That's Imam Sultan Shai alayhi salam used to say that. And Hazimam is saying that you all are my dais. So when we are Imam's dais, then Imam has given us this, permission that, we can share the knowledge, but we have to be very, careful that, what we are sharing, it's correct, right? It's with the right sources, and, it's with the primary sources, and it's the valid point which we are sharing with the Jamaat. And that's what Allama Saib said, that if you know a good point of knowledge, when you share with someone, you will automatically, your knowledge will increase. So that's what we need to understand, that the isn't, or the permission, we can say that we already have it from the Imam, but we have to, when Imam said that you become my dai, so in that reference we can, we can say that. And if you are attending global lectures, as Dr. Fakri Sahib and Alwaiz Rashida Saiba, they also mentioned that, sharing uh, knowledge with our family members and with the Jamaat, that's a really good thing, and we should do that. And by doing that, we give spiritual happiness to our family members, to a Jamaat, and not only to them, but we also feel happiness when we share with someone. Like, just to share with you just my personal example. What, within the Jamaat, I know those people who are interested in knowledge. When I'm in Jamaat Khana, like maybe in weekdays or any day, let's suppose on a Friday or Monday, whenever I go, and I just try to attend and go to Jamaat Khana as regular as I can. And then after Jamaat Khana ceremonies, beside, any other conversation, I try to add conversation by asking this question, what was the Farman about? What are some key points in the Farman? And then after that, then, I try to share another Farman from the Imam's Farman, in which, Imam said that, we should read, reflect, and discuss and dialogue Imam's Farman. So through that, I'm sharing points of wisdom from Imams, from the primary sources, which we have from the Pir Naṣīr Khusro, from Pir Sadruddin, from Dai al-Muhyiddin fi Shirazi, from other Dais and other Pirs. So that's how we create the community of learning, within ourselves, within our friend circles, within our family members. So that would be some of my thoughts.
I mean, yes, and that does make sense. Starting with the Farmans and Ginans in the Jamaat Khana, that truly makes sense. Subhanallah, subhanallah. There's another question, if you can please explain a little bit more on the 4 kinds of nehre, lake of wine, honey, etc., and what is the esoteric or deep connection among 4 of them?
Yes, sure. So what I shared, and as I said, that there are many layers of meanings, and you can also find, I believe, in Nakusha Hikmat wisdom of diagrams, you would also find a further explanation in this particular book of Allāmah Buzurgwar. So honey is a symbol of wisdom. And if you can recall, Maula Ali alayhi salam said that Ana Amirul Nahal, I am the queen of the bees. That's what Maula Ali said. And Maula Ali said, if we can try to make a spiritual connection of Imam saying, then shahad or honey is a symbol of wisdom, and milk is a symbol of spiritual nourishment, and water is a symbol of knowledge, and wine is a symbol of a spiritually lose yourself in divine spiritual intoxication. And in also another aspect is the Sharia, when one is stuck with the Shariat of any natik and not moving forward, then that is also a symbol of wine. So, for example, if one is stuck with the Shariat of Hazrat Adam and not moving forward to the, we are talking the time of Hazrat Adam. If you go back to this time of Hazrat Adam, and the period is moving forward from Hazrat Adam to Hazrat Nuh, and for example, if that person is still with Hazrat Adam Shariat and not moving forward, then that person is the example of lake of wine. But in today's time, we are in the present time, right? So in the present time, we have to be connected with the guidance of the present and the living Imam.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Friends, if you have any other questions or any comments, any reflection, you can unmute and come forward.
Yeah, that would be good word Salima mentioned, so that's good.
Today's topic was really interesting about how we need to understand how, we need to be generous with our time and our knowledge and our resources, because it is us who needs that, not the other way around. And whatever we have been given, we need to share, because that is the only way we will be fulfilling our duty towards sharing that knowledge. So, alhamdulillah, and I really like the idea of that, the way you said 57:13 to make the connection and remembering that. Yes, it is indeed 57:12 and 57:13 are very important verses, which we all should remember. Shukr Mawla.
Yes, and Nehmat Saiba has also explained this particular verse very well in her various sessions. And regarding sharing of knowledge, as Naveen Saiba, you mentioned a very important point. And I also, it reminded me the saying of one of the Imams, in which Imam said that either become, every single day ask yourself and become either a alim or muta'allim, either become a teacher or either become a student. Do not get into the third category, So that's what you will find this particular saying of Imam. I believe it's Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. You will find in Lalo Gohar book. So again, the question is, if sharing of knowledge would not be important, then in this saying of Imam, Imam said that either become a student or become a teacher, right? And Maulana has Imam in various Diamond Jubilee Farmans, Imam said that, and which I paraphrase, Imam said, I see many wise people in the Jamaat, and Imam said that, share your knowledge with them. So Imam is not only referring to share secular knowledge, but also share religious knowledge. And as we discussed that, we have to be very careful that what we are sharing, we have to, double check that it's completely accurate, with our primary resources and primary sources.
Shukr. Yes, indeed, that's very important. We have one hand raised. G. Shabir Saiba, you can unmute and ask.
So, yeah, I just want to say how much I do appreciate the sharing of the knowledge, because really a lot of sometimes the deeper knowledge is in the Gnans, and a lot of us are challenged with the language. Because even if you look at the translations, sometimes it's so much deeper than that. And so to be able to have this sharing in English and to be able to link it to the original sources and the Quranic sources allows me to deepen my knowledge. And how can that be wrong? Obviously, we want to be careful who we are learning from, right? Like you say, the source and the people. And if we feel there's integrity there, then even the Quran says, you know, go to China to seek knowledge, right? So to me, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. And I feel I can say this in this group, and it's okay. Like when there are Baitul Khilaf formats where the Imam says that do not share certain knowledge, he's talking about an experience. He's not talking about knowledge that's in books. That to me, our faith is about intellectual search. So for me, anything that challenges my, you know, if I am just alone and I don't come off a family where there's a tradition of this learning, and I'm not a scholar, then how do I deepen my knowledge? Yes, I can read, but unless I listen to somebody who knows more, understands more, who challenges my thinking, I'm not going to grow, right? So it's so wonderful for me to have this. There's nothing, it feels so right to me at so many levels. So I want to say how much I appreciate it.
Thank you, Shukran.
Yes, and the follow-up question, this will be the last question we'll do. The friend actually meant that the 4 lakes in view of Ismaili Tariqa, if you can give an example, share an example so that we can understand in a better way. So if you can, share a little bit more about the 4 nehre.
4 lakes or Char Nehre. Yes. So with, as I explained earlier, that if we can take Shahad, right? Shahad or honey, that would be, it's connected to wisdom or ta'wil, the ta'wili knowledge, which is more, deeper knowledge, or the knowledge which is given, which is a given knowledge. And we can come to that level when we advance in spirituality, then we can able to come to that level. But it requires, a lot of hard work. And then there is a lake of water, which is a knowledge, which is just talking about, we can say knowledge. And then lake of honey it's another level of knowledge. And then lake of milk, it's a spiritual nourishment. And Allāmah Sahib also explained about nafs-e kulli, and the nourishment is through nafs-e kulli. So this term, you can further read about it in Allāmah Sahib's books. If you go to Surah Muhammad, in Surah Muhammad you will find about 4 lakes. And what you can do to further look at how Allāmah Sahib had explained in his book, you can go to QWiki, and in QWiki under monorreality.org website, you can search for this particular Quranic verse, and you will find more explanation with further Ismaili perspective in this particular one. And then about lake of wine, as I said, that it's about moving forward in time, when we are from one level to the next level, staying connected with the current guidance of Imam of the time. So so as I gave you the example of when one is stuck with the previous Shariat and not going forward with the current light of Allah, with the guidance, then that person is, it's connected to the past. So that's the example of, going intoxication in a negative way. So this intoxication of wine, it's in the negative connotation also. So there are, as I said, there is a positive aspect also, and there is a negative aspect also. So the negative aspect in that sense, when one is stuck in a previous Shariat, and not staying with the current time.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. There's a comment and question, like a lot of Jamaati members say Maulana Hazir Imam said not to attend the Ilmi Majlis. How do we convince them? If you want to comment about it.
With that, we need to find the valid reference, and I don't think that Imam has made any farman that you don't join ilmi classes or something like that. So we just have to find because what Imam said, look at Imam's farman. What Imam said that seek knowledge wherever you find. That's what Imam said. So for example, let's talk about about Khana Hikmat, because Khana Hikmat it's a voluntary institution on the voluntary basis, and this institution is founded by and created by Allāmah Sahib. And when Allāmah Sahib established this institution, there is a Maulana Hazir Imam sent the Talika. And we have that Talika Mubarak of Maulana Hazir Imam. And Maulana Hazir Imam said in one of his guidance to Wazir Shafiq Sachadina that scholarship of Allāmah Sahib should be widely spread in the Jamaat. So beside that, we have those members of the Jamaat who are studying the Farman. So we need to use our intellect and see that, the knowledge which we are receiving, how valuable that knowledge is for me. And we have to, make the judgment, and, we need to decide in the guidance of the Imam. But remember, Imam, in my understanding, Imam has not said anything that, you don't join, ilmi classes. But of course, said this, that, be careful that, you look at the knowledge, what knowledge you are getting, that is it a good knowledge, is it a mediocre knowledge, or is it a knowledge which is not at all knowledge? So we find that kind of farmans, Imam made about analyzing the, how authentic the knowledge is, the spiritual knowledge or the secular knowledge.
Ameen. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Thank you, Riyaz Sahib, for a wonderful session. We look forward to another session, inshallah, with Maula's mercy, and inshallah we will complete one more book, which is amazing for all of the students learning and trying to read on daily basis. Inshallah, it will benefit all of us in our spirituality, and all of the practices you mentioned today. Inshallah, we will be able to implement those. Thank you so much for giving time and knowledge, and see you inshallah in a couple weeks time. Thank you, friends. Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Maulana Madad. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ya Ali Madad.
Maulana Madad.
Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Maulana Madad.